Welcome to Reread, where I'm rereading through the expanded universe in chronological order, just in case you were curious of how that goes. Maybe you're doing the same thing at home, who knows. I am on Darth Maul Shadowhunter by Michael Reeves. In this one, it takes place right after the 4-issue comic book series, because Darth Maul is complimenting him once again on his mission against Black Sun, but he has one more mission for him before the blockade of Naboo begins, and it is to take out a Neimoidian from the Trade Federation who has basically kind of betrayed them, and he's going to go strike off on his own. And of course he has this information that the Trade Federation is setting up a blockade of Naboo soon, and that's going to be big to know that they've also been dealing with a Sith as well. So he's trying to sell this information to the highest bidder. He doesn't want to deal with the New Republic because of course they're at odds right now already. Since the last book, Cloak of Deception, because they're the Republic's imposing a tax on the Trade Federation. This is why they're doing it. This will be their hidden retaliation. And so he doesn't, I don't know. Anyway, he wants to make money and then strike off on his own. It shows Newt Gunray at the beginning kind of lying to Sidious because he didn't know where he is. So he just tells Sidious he had something bad to eat. And Sidious is not fooled at all, so he sends Darth Maul to go execute this guy. Meanwhile, Newt Gunray's like, man, I thought he knows that the guy's left him for good and is going to betray him, because Newt Gunray's thought about doing that too, cutting ties with the Trade Federation, trying to make it on his own. But it doesn't end up for this very good for this guy, because pretty soon Maul's going to catch up with him and kill him. Maul kills anyone who he's talked to. One of those people is Lorne. Lorne Pavin and I-5. Now, Lorne, you'll know more about his son later on. I-5, of course, you'll know later on. I had forgotten how funny I-5 was. I knew he was sarcastic, but I really, really, really enjoyed this book because the relationship with I-5 and Lorne is great. It's great. He treats I-5, a droid, which no one can understand why, but he treats him as an equal. And they have this banter back and forth where they cut each other down, and it's really good. It's a really great relationship. I knew I liked I-5 beforehand, and this kind of reminded me why I like the character so much. Now, Lorne hates Jedi. Later on, we find out that's because he used to work, I think, as a janitor in the temple, and they found out his son, Jax, had Force ability, and so they brought him into the Order against Lorne's wishes. Now, I'd like to hear more about how that works, because anything previously, we've heard that it's always up to the children's choice. I mean, the parents' choice on whether they want their child to come over to the academy or not. So I wish they would have kind of gone into more of why the Jedi just took him away, or why Lorne feels that way. But either way, again, not a contradiction, just something that I wish would have been explained a little bit better. Dartha is a Jedi Padawan. She's about to get her mission. She's going to go through the trial. She's doing a mission. She's going through the Crimson District of Coruscant, which is obviously way on the other side of Coruscant, and she's going to bring back a snitch and bring him back to the Jedi Temple, witness protection. So she goes to get him, and it's kind of funny, through no fault of, well, kind of fault of her own, a series of events happens where they're on the run. Her speeder gets kind of, pieces get robbed out. She runs into a gang. She can't fly her T-16 Skyhopper, so they go and run through the streets of Coruscant. They make it into a building with a bunch of Hobbats. One attacks the guy in the eye, the guy who she's trying to protect, and he falls over and falls to his death down the stairwell. That's kind of grim, but it's pretty funny because the Padawan has now really screwed up her Jedi trial. She thinks, oh no, I'll never be a Jedi Knight. When she gets to the temple, her master goes, well, hey, did you see if he was dead? I mean, we gotta check and make sure he's dead. You can't just, did you feel him in the Force? She was like, well, no, but I'm a Padawan still, so maybe I didn't feel him in the Force. I don't know. So the Jedi Master feels sorry for her. He says, well, here, let's go together. I'll help you out. So they go back over there. It should be mentioned that during all these events, her comlink got smashed. And so she has no way to contact the Jedi Temple. They have to do that now since everyone has a comlink, like a cell phone. You got to get rid of that instant communication, right? So she and her Jedi Master go to see, and sure enough, they find enough evidence. He did die. But meanwhile, that's when Darth Maul comes onto it's always following Darth Maul. Of course, he's kind of, showing how this is not really, it doesn't seem like that big of a challenge for him. And, he's not going to get much. But when he comes across the Jedi, it's like, ooh, Jedi, because he'd like to test his skill against a Jedi. Well, the Jedi don't know who he is. Some reason Lorne thinks he's a Sith automatically. There are dark Jedi around, but automatically he goes to, it's a Sith. They have been seen for over 1,000 years. Okay, I know why the reader would know that, but why would some common guy, well, I mean, he's been in the Jedi Temple for a while, so never mind. I may just answer my own question right now. But either way, Lorne knows he's a Sith. The Jedi are not sure what he is, but the Jedi Master sacrifices himself to buy everyone time to get away. Unfortunately, there's a big crash. They don't get away. Lorne hates Dartha. Dartha doesn't understand why he hates Jedi. They work through this. They actually become friends, and Lorne likes her at the end. And I kind of like this romance. Dartha doesn't know how she feels about him. She does like him. She's grown to like him or pity him a little bit, and does want to get to the bottom of, hey, was his son really taken by the Jedi? Maybe that's something we should talk about more. And she admits that she didn't have that many friends. And if you think right now, she's feeling very weak, right? She just got accepted to take on the trials, which she failed incredibly bad, and so now she's thinking, will I even be a Jedi now? Will I just kind of go back to, am I going to be moisture farming? Do I need to look at moisture farming for dumb Jedis? You know, is that the next book I'm reading? So maybe she's looking to find some camaraderie with someone, and she finds Lorne. Either way, I don't mind this fast, relationship that's being grown through these trying times as they're both running away from a maniac, which is Darth Maul, and they make him look like a maniac. Wild eyes, bearing yellow teeth, just a Nightmare Incorporated, Nightmare walking down the hallway. There's so many times they're just barely making away from him. This is one, I do remember this, they fight this big giant snail-like creature in the depths of Coruscant. I do remember that battle very well. That's one of the things I do remember from Shadowhunter. And because his scales kind of mask him from the Force, which is what Lorne's going to do later on to get the drop on Darth Maul. Darth Maul, the Padawan will eventually sacrifice herself to save Lorne and I-5. Darth Maul defeats her, but in the explosion, he feels out through the Force. He can't feel Lorne or I-5 because they froze himself in carbonite, so he thinks they're dead. He reports to Darth Sidious, all is fine. He also found a Sith holocron to give to Darth Sidious as well, and he's going to go meet Darth Sidious. Well, little does he know that Lorne is now tailing him. Lorne's woken up from his short sleep and is going off to get revenge for Darth. He can't believe this, but he hates, he's kind of fallen in love with Dartha, and he wants his revenge on Darth Maul. I-5's like, this is not going to work, but look, I got information that the Jedi need. Just, drop me off with someone and they can take me. So his buddy owes him a favor. He gets him like a shuttle or something to chase after Darth Maul. He goes, okay, one last favor, my friend. Get I-5 to the Jedi Temple. He's like, okay. And as Lorne goes away, he's like, Lorne's on a suicide mission. He's never coming back. Droids ain't cheap. I'm going to mind wipe this dude and just sell him. I love that, because now I-5 doesn't even know what's going to happen to him. He's going to get mind wiped. The Jedi aren't going to know about the Sith. They aren't going to know about the blockade, even though it's like, at this point, it's not really, maybe a few days away. But it goes, and this is one of the best scenes in it, and I do remember this. When he finally chases Darth Maul, he surprises him because he's covered in those little scales from the snail or whatever. It's called a tezzerin or something. I don't know how they're pronounced because I never listened to the audiobook. But anyway, he gets the drop on Darth Maul, shoots him a couple of times, stuns him in the back. Not long enough to knock him out that long. Darth Maul whoops out his lightsaber, takes off his hand where he's about to shoot him again. His hand's kind of spinning through the air, blobs of, because they're in zero-G gravity, blobs of blood are going everywhere. So he kind of escapes barely from Darth Maul, and he's on this ship, and he makes it to a senator, and he's so happy. Senator, help me, help me, help me. There's someone chasing me. I think he's a Sith. And he's like, oh my goodness, what? He's like, yes, and here's the information. You need to get this to the Jedi immediately. He's thinking, well, maybe if I-5 hasn't gotten there yet, maybe I gotta tell someone. He's like, okay, don't worry, I'll take care of you. We'll get you medical attention right now. He's like, thank you so much. And it ends with Senator Palpatine. I love it. I remember the first time I read that, I was like, oh, because I was like, oh no, the book's about to end. He's already telling a senator this? Is Darth Maul going to kill them both in the end? Does the ship blow up? What's going on? And then he says Palpatine, like, oh, come on. And so Lorne wakes up. He's all bandaged up. He's living in an apartment on Coruscant. He is assured by Palpatine that information has been sent. The Jedi are so happy. And he's like, okay, good. And he opens the door, and Darth Maul skewers him with his lightsaber, and Darth Maul's pissed too. But Lorne, he admits, he at first thought the mission was beneath him, but Lorne was a worthy adversary. He deserves a quick death. And then from there, the blockade begins. I should also mention Obi-Wan is in this book, even though I don't know why. He's basically trying to figure out what happened to Dartha and her master. And so he's always like a few chapters behind, right? Catching up with the action that happened a long time ago in the book. And he still can't piece it together. He thinks the Jedi got messed up with, linked in with Black Sun, because some Black Sun people got killed, and so in this book as well. And so he thinks it's something with the Jedi and Black Sun, but he doesn't have time to give his full report because they got to go to Naboo. When he gets to the Jedi Temple, Qui-Gon's like, "Where have you been? We got to get to Naboo. They just put up a blockade. You know, Council of War and ask for our help." So this takes place right as we're getting into episode 1. My next book I'm going to review is Lockdown, and there's not much time for Darth Maul to do much because he is basically going over there on Naboo. Unless this Lockdown episode takes place over a few days. I don't know why I put this after Shadowhunter, because I'd forgotten, I guess, that Shadowhunter ends with the blockade starting and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan on their way there. So I don't know. I'll find that out when I review that book next time.